Greetings everyone, this is Walt Farchman, Product Manager for the eDAQXR platform, and in this short presentation I just wanted to highlight some of the new features that you'll see in Firmware 2.6. Okay, the first thing I thought I'd show you is how to update your firmware. First of all, simply go to your System tab under Firmware, and then you browse for the file. I happen to have it already in a file called Firmware 2.6. Select the file, hit open, and then you hit update down on the bottom left. I've already updated this unit, so I won't do that for now, but I thought you'd like to see that. So what are some new things that are coming in the 2.6 firmware release? One thing is the ability to edit a CAN DBC file on the unit. So here we have a DBC file, we call it J1939. All these fields are editable, so you can change whatever you want: start bit, bit length, min-max, scale and offset. So all these fields you can now edit. Name, whatever, you can see there's a box there. I can do that even by just right-clicking and hitting edit as well, and it kind of brings it up in a dialog box. So depending on how you like to edit your parameters, you can do that at this point. I can also, let's say I'm going to select all this and then unselect a handful of channels and delete channels. So I'm going to remove all those channels that I have selected here, 289. So now you'll see I have a shorter list, and maybe I don't want to alter my J1939, but I like to save this off as another DBC file. And I can do that by doing Save As, and maybe I call it Walt DBC, and hit Save. And you'll notice here it shows up here. Unfortunately, on this release, we can't export. I know that's not a great thing. It'll come in the future. But right now, the only thing we can do is import a DBC file or text file, and we can make edits on this unit. I know that's not ideal, but baby steps here. We're getting there. You can also, now you have this modified database, I can hit Add, and you'll notice this new channel. And if I edit this new channel, or let's say I want to change the name right here, I don't have to edit, I can call it test chan, and I want to show you an error that comes up because spaces are not allowed in a DBC file. And you can tell where that error is, one, because it highlights it in darker red, if you will, but I can also click here and it will tell me that I need to have an underscore. It takes me right to that box. If I put an underscore, there we have it. So now it's the error has been cleared. I can do a save to my Walt DBC. So it's pretty straightforward. What you can do here, you could create a whole new database if you wanted to. I can add a new database, and it starts with a blank slate, and then I can add new. So you can do that. We won't do that right now. What I wanted to show now is if you go to your CAN channels, here's a thermocouple input, I can right click and edit, and you can kind of see the strip chart showing up here. And I'm going to touch my thermocouple. It's just a thermocouple CAN module, but you can see digital reading is coming down now that I touched it. So you can do all your work here. You can also edit your CAN parameters here. If it's not working, you can make modifications, hit OK, apply any of your changes here, and then those will apply. This is what we call the single channel editor. Maybe a CAN isn't the most exciting one, so let me show you the next thing that's new in 2.6, which is the single channel editor. Let's go to a strain gauge beam. I'm going to edit this. When you edit, and it brings up the single channel editor, and you'll notice this is just noise, a couple microstrain of noise at auto scales, but I have a strain gauge beam that I'm pushing on. And I can do things. I can look at the digital reading. I can look at the wiring diagram. If I'm troubleshooting, I can also zero at this point if I wanted to. It's already pretty close to zero, so that's not going to do much. I can apply shunt resistors. That's like 1 microstrain of noise there. Doesn't look great. But I can switch in my shunt resistors. There's my upscale, there's my downscale shunt. If I wanted to look at the digital reading of that, I can do that. I can then remove my shunt resistor. So this is kind of nice new strip chart display for the digital, or I'm sorry, for the single channel editor. Another thing that's in 2.6 is a new mode for zeroing. Previously we had not applicable, interactive, and we've added zeroing on a test start. So what's not applicable? That just means if you had 100 channels and you selected them all and you hit 0, it would not zero those channels that you've locked the zeroing. Interactive, they would zero, and normal test starts would mean it would zero whenever you start a test. So that's been a feature request from our customers. So these are just a few things that I thought you'd like to see. Highlight those, and hopefully you can share any other feedback you might have on the software, and more to come. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.